My people are going to learn the principles of democracy, the dictates of truth and the teachings of science. The Young Turk Revolution, 1908. Ottoman Turkey finds itself increasingly unable to keep control of its empire and match Western powers. The Ottoman Sultanate attempts Westernizing reforms, but these efforts are half-hearted. The rule of Abdulhamid II proves repressive and corrupt, ever more at the mercy of Western financial interests. The Young Turk Revolution instigates modernizing reforms. It is unable to offer any lasting solution to Turkey's declining power. Defeat in World War I shatters the Ottoman Empire but leads to the formation of a secular republic. The Young Turk Revolution of July 1908 was instigated by nationalistic army officers dismayed by the territorial losses of the Ottoman Empire. It forced the Sultan, the Ottoman ruler, the ineffective but repressive Abdulhamid II, to reintroduce the constitutional monarchy that he had suspended in 1878 in favor of personal rule after only 2 years. In 1909, he was forced to abdicate in favor of his brother, Mehmed V, who was merely a figurehead. The revolution did very little to halt the Ottoman decline, tending mostly only to highlight tensions between those who championed Turkish Islamic values and those liberals who believed only Western-style reforms could save Turkey. Territorial decline. In 1800, despite repeated defeats at the hands of the Russians, Ottoman Turkey still ruled over a vast multinational empire that stretched across the Balkans, the Middle East, and North Africa. From 1805, it lost control of Egypt, which became effectively independent under one of the Sultan's generals, Muhammad Ali. In 1830, the year that France began its conquest of Algeria, completed in 1857, Greece won its independence, and by 1878, Serbia, Montenegro, Bulgaria, and Romania were similarly independent in all but name. In 1881, Tunisia, too, was taken over by France. Following the Young Turk Revolution, the relentless decline of Ottoman Turkey continued. In 1911, Libya was lost to Italy, while the Balkan Wars of 1912–13 saw the surrender of almost all of Turkey's remaining European territories. A fateful alliance. Following the Balkan crisis, the Ottoman's military government launched a drive to modernize the country along Western lines. In October 1914, Turkey entered World War I as an ally of the Central Powers, Germany and Austria-Hungary, convinced that German military aid would allow it to reassert its potency. This was a calamitous mistake, and defeat in 1918 saw Turkey reduced to its Anatolian heartlands, its remaining Middle East territories lost, largely carved up between Britain and France. The traumas of Turkey's defeat in World War I were underlined in 1920 by the Treaty of Sevres, largely a Franco-British imposition. This confirmed the loss of Ottoman territory and also awarded much of western Turkey to Greece, provoking an immediate nationalist backlash led by Mustafa Kemal, as well as the overthrow of the last Sultan, Mehmed V. The Turkey that emerged under Kemal, subsequently styled Ataturk, father of the Turks, was exactly the centralized Western-style and, importantly, secular state that nationalist reformers such as the Young Turks had argued for. Kemal Ataturk. Mustafa Kemal, better known as Ataturk, 1881–1938, the name he assumed in 1934, was the founder and first president of the Republic of Turkey. Born in 1881, he took part in the Young Turk Revolution as an army officer. Later, he served with distinction in the Gallipoli campaign of 1915–16, which repulsed a joint Franco-British attempt to conquer western Turkey. After the Turkish defeat in World War I, Ataturk established a provisional government. As leader of the Turkish nationalists, he played a central role in driving the Greeks from mainland western Turkey. With the country's borders confirmed by the Treaty of Lausanne of 1923, the West effectively agreeing to the establishment of a new Turkish republic, Ataturk launched a radical program of social and political reforms intended to transform the nation into a modern, westernized republic. However painful the process of dragging Turkey into the modern world, under Ataturk the country indeed emerged as a coherent, secular political entity. In context. Focus: modernizing Turkey. Before 1798 French invasion of Egypt, which leads to the Ottoman loss of the country in 1805. 1830 Greece's independence signals the loss of the first Ottoman Balkan territories. France begins its conquest of Algeria. After 1912-13 Ottoman Turkey suffers humiliating defeats in the Balkan Wars. 1914 Ottoman Turkey enters World War I on Germany's side. 1920 Mustafa Kemal leads a revolt against the punitive Treaty of Sevres imposed on the Ottoman government after defeat in World War I. 1923 The Treaty of Lausanne confirms the borders of modern Turkey. Kemal launches a modernization program.